"They're breaching Sector 7, Commander Jackson yelled across the command deck. His forearms moved rapidly over the tactical display, attempting to redirect the limited defensive resources we had available. I stared at the main viewscreen, my sense of foreboding growing. The Harvester mothership was immense, its massive form eclipsing the stars behind it. Surrounding it were thousands of fighter drones, each one mindlessly executing its programming to eliminate all intelligent life in this sector. "Well, isn't this just delightful?" I muttered, my antenna twitching with annoyance. "It's the perfect ending to an already dreadful week." My name is Vexor, Chief Communications Officer of the Galactic Alliance flagship Endurance, or what remained of it. 2 days prior, we had been the pride of the Alliance fleet. Now, we were little more than a crippled wreck, desperately trying to protect the last habitable planet in the Orion cluster. "Status report," demanded Admiral Lerna, her scaled skin shifting from blue to a troubled purple. "Shields at 17%, weapon systems offline, and life support failing on decks 12 through 17, reported Lieutenant Mira, her voice trembling despite her efforts to maintain a professional demeanor. "Communications are still operational, though I'm uncertain who remains to contact." The Admiral's expression hardened. "There must be someone." "With all due respect, Admiral," I said, "we've sent distress signals to every Allied system within range. The Harvester blockade is preventing any signals from getting through." Suddenly, our ship shuddered violently as another volley of energy torpedoes struck our failing shields. "Shields at 8%, Mira announced, the panic in her voice now undisguised. "Oh, fantastic. At this rate, we'll be space debris in approximately 10 minutes, I said, my sarcasm barely concealing my fear. It was then that a peculiar memory surfaced, something from my academy days, buried beneath years of protocol and procedure. It was a tale about an obscure species from a remote solar system that the Alliance had deemed not yet ready for contact. "Admiral," I said, my voice steady despite the chaos around me, "I might have an idea." "Unless it involves conjuring a fleet out of thin air, I'm not interested." "Humans," I interrupted. The bridge fell silent, even as the ship continued to shake under enemy fire. "Excuse me?" Admiral Lerna asked, her scales shifting to a confused yellow. "Humans, from Earth, Sol System," I clarified. Commander Jackson scoffed, "The primitives? They barely have space travel beyond their own moon." "Yes, but they possess something we currently need," I insisted. "They're unpredictable. The Harvesters are a hive mind, they operate on logic and patterns. Humans don't, they're chaos incarnate." Admiral Lerna's eyes narrowed. "They're an uncontacted species, Vexor. Initiating communications would violate at least 15 Alliance protocols." Another explosion rocked the ship. "Shields at 3%, Mira called out. "I believe protocol is the least of our worries at this moment, Admiral," I said, moving to my communications station. "Besides, they've been broadcasting their signals into space for over a century. They're practically begging to be contacted." After a moment of deliberation, Admiral Lerna nodded. "Do it. What's the worst that could happen? We're already about to be destroyed." I quickly reconfigured our communications array to broadcast on Earth's primitive radio frequencies. After several tense moments, the system locked onto a signal originating from a place called Houston, Texas. "This is Sophia Keller, NASA Mission Control." "Who is this, and how did you access this frequency?" came a suspicious female voice. "Hello, Sophia Keller from NASA Mission Control," I replied, attempting to sound as non-threatening as possible. "My name is Vexor, Communications Officer of the Galactic Alliance Starship Endurance. We are currently engaged in battle with an enemy that threatens not only our existence, but yours as well. We require your assistance." There was a long pause, and for a moment, I feared we had lost the connection. "Is this some kind of joke?" she finally responded. "I assure you, it is not," I said as another explosion shook the bridge. "We are approximately 3.2 light-years from your solar system, fighting an enemy called the Harvesters. They're a collective consciousness that travels through galaxies, destroying all intelligent life they encounter. If we fail here, your planet is next. Even if I believed you, which I don't, what could we possibly do to help?" Sophia asked, her voice a mix of disbelief and curiosity. The harvesters operate on logic and predictable patterns, I explained quickly. Humans, from what we've observed, are anything but predictable. We need your unpredictable thinking to find a weakness in their attack strategy. Another pause. You know what? I'm going to play along, Sophia said. Send me your tactical data. Let me see what we're dealing with. I transmitted our battle telemetry to Earth, hoping their primitive systems could process it. Shields failing, Mira announced, her voice now calm with the resignation of the inevitable. Receiving your data now, Sophia said after a moment. This is either the most elaborate prank ever, or holy, you're actually aliens. Yes, we've established that, I replied dryly. Any insights would be appreciated sooner rather than later. All right, she said. Give me a second to wait. These harvester things, they're attacking in a mathematically precise pattern. It's almost like they're following a formula. Yes, that's what I've been trying to tell you, I said, my patience wearing thin as another hit rocked the ship. They're predictable, which normally would be an advantage, but they've predicted all our defenses too. No, you don't understand, Sophia said, excitement creeping into her voice. If they're following a mathematical pattern, then there's always a weakness. It's like, okay, did you ever play chess? Chess? The human strategy game? What does that have to do with, just listen, she interrupted. In chess, if your opponent always follows the same opening moves, you can set up a counter-strategy. These harvesters are doing the same thing. Now, their attack pattern has a rhythm, a cadence, and based on this telemetry, I think I see a gap in their formation that repeats every 27 seconds. I quickly analyzed the data she was referring to, and remarkably, she was right. There was a momentary vulnerability in the harvester attack pattern that we had completely missed. Admiral, I called out, I think the human might be onto something. Admiral Lerna joined me at the console, her scales now glowing with renewed hope. Explain. Sophia's voice came through clearly despite the vast distance. If you time it right, you can slip a concentrated burst of energy through that gap. It won't take down the mothership, but it might disrupt their coordination long enough for you to escape or call for reinforcements. We don't have enough power left in our weapons to generate that kind of burst, Commander Jackson pointed out. What about your engines? Sophia asked. Could you reroute power from them? I exchanged glances with the Admiral. It was risky, we'd be dead in space after firing, but if it worked. Do it, Admiral Lerna ordered. Wait, Sophia said. One more thing. Their pattern is too perfect. No natural system is that precise unless it's being actively maintained. I think there's a control ship coordinating the attack. Look for something different in the swarm, something that doesn't quite fit the pattern. Lieutenant Mira frantically scanned the tactical display. There, near the rear of the formation. It's smaller than the others, but it's surrounded by a defensive screen of fighters. That's your target, Sophia confirmed. Hit that, not the mothership. As Commander Jackson rerouted power from our engines to our forward-phase cannons, I couldn't help but marvel at how quickly this human had grasped our situation and found a solution that had eluded our best tactical minds. Ready to fire on your mark, Admiral, Commander Jackson reported. Admiral Lerna took a deep breath. Mark. A brilliant beam of energy erupted from our ship, threading the needle through the momentary gap in the harvester formation and striking the hidden control ship. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The perfectly coordinated swarm of fighters suddenly broke formation, flying in random directions and even colliding with each other. It worked! Lieutenant Mira exclaimed. Sophia Keller, Admiral Lerna said, addressing our unlikely savior directly, on behalf of the Galactic Alliance, I thank you. You've given us a fighting chance. Happy to help, Sophia replied, and I could hear the smile in her voice, though I'm still not entirely convinced I'm not dreaming this whole thing. I assure you, this is very real, I said, and if we survive this, I believe the Alliance might need to reconsider its position on humanity's readiness for contact. A warning klaxon blared across the bridge. The control ship is destroyed,
But the mothership is repositioning, Commander Jackson reported. They're adapting. Of course, they are, I sighed. That would have been too easy. What's happening? Sophia asked.
The harvesters are regrouping, I explained.
Without the control ship, they've fallen back on their collective consciousness.
It's slower, less efficient, but still deadly. If they're a hive mind, they must communicate somehow, Sophia mused.
Is there any way to jam their communications?
I looked at Commander Jackson, who was already working on the problem. Our sensors detect quantum entanglement signals between the mothership and the drones, but we don't have the technology to disrupt that.
What about noise? Sophia suggested.
Not jamming, per se, but flooding their communication channels with garbage data. That might actually work, Commander Jackson admitted, looking surprised. We could repurpose our long-range scanners to emit random quantum signals on all frequencies.
Do it, Admiral Lerna ordered. As Commander Jackson implemented Sophia's suggestion, I realized that the human simplistic approach to problems was exactly what we needed against an enemy as complex as the harvesters.
Sometimes, the most basic solution was the most effective.
It's working, Mira reported, as the harvester drones began to move more erratically. Their coordination is breaking down. Now's our chance, Admiral Lerna declared. Reroute all remaining power to engines. Let's get out of here while they're confused.
Our engines sputtered to life, and slowly, painfully, the Endurance began to move away from the battlefield. Sophia Keller, I said, knowing that our communication would soon be out of range, you've saved not only our lives, but potentially countless others across the galaxy.
The Alliance will not forget this.
Just doing what anyone would do, she replied modestly, though I'm pretty sure NASA is going to have some questions for me about this unauthorized communication.
I couldn't help but laugh despite our dire situation. Perhaps one day soon, we'll meet in person, and I can help explain. I'd like that, she said. And Vexor, good luck.
As our ship limped away toward the nearest Alliance outpost, I couldn't help but think about the implications of what had just happened. Humans, a species we had dismissed as primitive and unready, had provided the key to our survival against one of the most formidable enemies the Alliance had ever faced.
And this was just one human. What might they accomplish if the entire species joined the galactic community? I had a feeling we would soon find out, whether the Alliance was ready or not.
3 solar cycles had passed since our narrow escape from the harvesters. The Endurance, battered but functional, had limped to Alliance Outpost Zenith, where we received emergency repairs and a hero's welcome. News of our survival, and how we achieved it, spread rapidly throughout Alliance space. You realize you've started quite the political firestorm, Admiral, Lerna said, sliding a data tablet across her desk to me. I picked it up, scanning the High Council's official statement regarding Earth. My antenna drooped slightly as I read, premature contact with an undeveloped species, reckless endangerment of the natural development timeline, possible disciplinary action. I read aloud. They can't be serious. We were facing extinction. Admiral Lerna's scales rippled with amusement, shifting to a light orange. Oh, they're quite serious. The Development Protocol Committee is particularly upset. The same committee that hasn't left their cushy offices on Centauri Prime in 50 cycles, I scoffed. They weren't staring down a harvester mothership. No, but they do control our funding, Jackson noted as he entered the Admiral's office, his 4 arms carrying various reports, and they're demanding a full hearing. I groaned, sinking deeper into my chair. Wonderful. So, we saved the Alliance from certain doom, and our reward is bureaucracy. Actually, Admiral Lerna said, her scale shifting to a more serious blue, the situation has become somewhat more complicated. She activated the view screen on her wall. It showed a familiar planet, Earth. But something was different. Surrounding it were at least a dozen Harvester scout ships. My blood ran cold. They followed our transmission, Jackson nodded grimly. Looks that way. They arrived in Earth's orbit approximately 30 hours ago. We have to help them, I said immediately, rising from my chair. Sophia and her people saved us. We can't just leave them to face the harvesters alone. The High Council disagrees, Admiral Lerna said, her voice carefully neutral. Their official position is that revealing ourselves to defend Earth would violate the development protocol. That's absurd. I sputtered. The harvesters are there because of us, because they helped us. Hey, I agree, Admiral Lerna said, her scales shifting to a determined purple, which is why I've been authorized to form a special task force to assess the situation. I caught the subtle emphasis in her voice. Assessment requires observation. Observation requires proximity. A small smile played across the Admiral's face. Precisely. And as the only Alliance officer who has established contact with humans, you're the natural choice to lead this assessment team. Hope surged through me. The Endurance is ready. Not quite, Jackson said, but we've been assigned a new vessel for this mission, the Defiance. Smaller, faster, and equipped with our latest stealth technology. When do we leave? I asked, already mentally preparing for the mission. Immediately, Admiral Lerna replied. The official mission parameters are to observe and report, nothing more. The look in her eyes told me everything I needed to know. What we did beyond observation would be off the record, but not unsupported. Understood, Admiral, I said with a slight bow. We'll provide a thorough assessment. Within hours, I stood on the bridge of the Defiance, a sleek vessel designed for speed and stealth rather than frontline combat. Commander Jackson had come along as my tactical officer, while Lieutenant Mira headed up our science division. The rest of the crew consisted of volunteers who had served on the Endurance during our encounter with the harvesters. Course laid in for the Sol system, our pilot announced. Estimated arrival in 48 hours using quantum tunneling. Engage, I ordered, feeling a strange mixture of anticipation and dread. I had no idea what we would find when we reached Earth, or if Sophia Keller was even still alive. The journey passed in intense preparation. Jackson drilled the crew on combat scenarios, while Mira analyzed everything we knew about the harvesters, looking for additional weaknesses. I spent my time studying Earth's cultures and languages, trying to better understand the humans who had saved us. When we finally dropped out of quantum tunneling near Pluto, at the edge of Earth's solar system, the situation became immediately clear. Harvester activity detected around the third planet, Mira reported, her voice tight. 14 scout ships in orbit, and... She paused, her eyes widening, multiple ground incursions detected. They've begun landing troops. Show me, I demanded. The main viewscreen activated, showing real-time images of Earth's surface, cities aflame, harvester dropships deploying ground forces, and scattered human military resistance that seemed hopelessly outmatched. They're putting up quite a fight, Jackson observed with grudging respect. Those ground-to-air missiles actually took down 2 harvester dropships. Can we establish communications? I asked, scanning the tactical display for any sign of organized resistance. Mira worked her console. Most of their communication infrastructure has been targeted, but I'm detecting a concentration of signals from a facility in the region they call Colorado. Some kind of mountain fortress. NORAD, I said, recalling my studies. North American Aerospace Defense Command. One of their most secure military installations. Attempting to establish contact on their military frequencies, Mira said. After several tense moments, a voice crackled through the bridge speakers. This is General Thomas Warren, NORAD Command. Identify yourself. General Warren, this is Communications Officer Vexor of the Alliance vessel Defiance. We've come in response to the harvester attack on your world. There was a pause. Vexor? You're the alien that contacted NASA. Sophia Keller told us about you before we lost contact with Houston. My heart sank at the implication. Is she? Unknown, Warren replied grimly. Houston fell 3 days ago. We've been gathering survivors at hardened facilities, but we're losing ground hourly. These harvester things, they're like nothing we've ever faced. We've faced them before, I said. We can help you fight them. With all due respect, Vexor, Warren said, frustration evident in his voice, unless you brought an armada with you, I don't see how. We've thrown everything we have at them, nuclear weapons included, and barely made a dent.
Nuclear weapons won't work against their shields, Jackson chimed in, but we have information on their weaknesses and tactical vulnerabilities. We're listening, Warren replied, desperation clear in his voice.
First, I said, we need to locate Sophia Keller. If she's still alive, her insights were crucial to our survival, and they could be to yours as well.
Warren was silent for a moment. Last transmission from her indicated she was being evacuated to Peterson Air Force Base. That's not far from here. If she made it, she might be among the refugees we've taken in. Can you check?
Stand by, Warren said. As we waited, Mira continued her scans of Earth's surface. The Harvester ground forces are converging on major population centers.
Their pattern suggests they're setting up processing centers for harvesting.
I shuddered. We all knew what that meant.
The Harvesters didn't just destroy civilizations, they extracted all useful biological and technological resources first.
Vexor, Warren's voice returned.
We found her.
Sophia Keller is here, and apparently very eager to speak with you.
Relief washed over me.
Put her through.
Vexor? Is that really you?
Sophia's voice came through, somehow maintaining a hint of humor despite the circumstances. I told them you were real, but honestly, I was starting to doubt it myself.
It's me, I confirmed.
I wish we were reconnecting under better circumstances. Yeah, well, turns out you were right about these Harvester things, she said.
They're not big on diplomatic relations, or the harvest all humans type.
Despite the gravity of the situation, I found myself smiling at her characteristic blend of humor and understatement.
We've come to help, but we're just one ship. We need to be strategic.
Good thing strategy happens to be my specialty, Sophia replied.
Since our last chat, I've been studying everything we could observe about these Harvesters.
Their ground forces have the same weakness as their ships. They operate on predictable patterns. Like we did with their fleet, I said. The problem is identifying which ships are the command vessels. They all look identical to our sensors. They emit quantum control signals on specific frequencies, Jackson explained. With the right equipment, you can detect which ships are transmitting the most complex signal patterns. We can modify your sensor arrays, I added, but even if we identify the command ships, your current weapons won't penetrate their shields.
What about the noise approach?
Sophia suggested.
Flooding their communication channels worked before.
They'll have adapted to that by now, Jackson said. The Harvesters learn from each encounter. General Warren slammed his fist on the table.
So, what can we do? We've lost half the planet already.
I exchanged looks with Jackson before making a decision that would likely end my Alliance career. We can give you advanced weapons technology, specifically designed to counter Harvester shields.
Warren's eyes widened. Now we're talking. How quickly can we deploy it?
There's a catch, I said. We would be violating numerous Alliance protocols by sharing this technology with you, and even with it, you're still outnumbered and outgunned.
So, we need a game changer. Sophia said thoughtfully, something they won't expect.
Exactly, I confirmed, and based on what I've seen of humans so far, unexpected solutions are your specialty.
Sophia's eyes lit up. What about their mothership? Is it still in orbit? Jackson nodded.
It's their command and control center, but it's heavily defended, and our one ship can't possibly.
We don't need to destroy it, Sophia interrupted. We just need to board it.
The room fell silent.
Board it?
General Warren repeated incredulously.
That's suicide. Not necessarily, Sophia explained, excitement building in her voice.
The Harvesters are focused on ground operations now.
Their orbital defenses will be minimal.
If we could get a small team aboard the mothership and introduce a virus into their command systems. A virus wouldn't work, Jackson said dismissively.
Their systems are biological, not digital.
Then we make it a biological virus, Sophia countered, something tailored to their specific biology.
I stared at her in amazement. That might actually work. Mira's background is in xenobiology. With samples of harvester tissue, she might be able to engineer something. We've collected plenty of samples, Warren said grimly, every time we manage to kill one of their ground troops. There's still the matter of reaching the mothership, Jackson pointed out. Our shuttle isn't designed for combat. Sophia smiled. Leave that to us. Before everything went to hell, we were testing a new stealth spaceplane designed to be undetectable by conventional radar and thermal imaging. With your technology to mass quantum signatures, it might just get a strike team close enough. Over the next 24 hours, we worked frantically to implement Sophia's plan. Mira joined his planet side to work on the biological agent, while human scientists incorporated our shield-penetrating technology into their weapons. Sophia and a team of engineers modified their experimental spaceplane to incorporate our stealth technology. The strike team would consist of Jackson, Sophia, myself, and 4 human Special Forces soldiers. General Warren had objected to Sophia's inclusion, but she had insisted that her knowledge of both human and harvester technology made her essential. Besides, she had said with that characteristic humor, someone has to make sure you aliens don't double-cross us. As we prepared to board the modified spaceplane, I pulled Sophia aside. You don't have to do this. The risk is extreme. Yeah, I got the memo, she said, checking her equipment one last time, but it's my planet on the line, and honestly, I've spent my whole career wondering if we're alone in the universe. Now that I know we're not, I'd like there to still be a human civilization around to make proper first contact. I couldn't argue with her logic or her courage. The launch went smoothly, our hybrid vessel slipping past the harvester patrols with relative ease. As we approached the massive mothership, however, tension mounted. That thing is the size of Manhattan, one of the soldiers whispered. Focus on the mission, Jackson reminded everyone. We locate the central processing node, deploy the biological agent, and get out. Simple. When is it ever simple? Sophia muttered. Our vessel attached to an external maintenance port on the mothership. Using Alliance cutting tools, we created an entry point and slipped inside. The interior of the harvester ship was unlike anything the humans had ever seen, organic technology fused with mechanical components, pulsing with an eerie bioluminescence. Remember, avoid direct contact with any fluids, Mira warned through our comms. Their biological components are highly caustic to most carbon-based life forms. We moved through the vessel, following Jackson's scanner toward the central processing node. Surprisingly, we encountered minimal resistance. Most of the harvester's attention was indeed focused on their ground operations. Too easy, I murmured, my antenna twitching with unease. Sophia glanced at me. Never say that. That's when things always go wrong in the movies. As if on cue, an alarm began to pulse through the ship. The corridors. Flushed with red bioluminescence, we've been detected, Jackson announced. Multiple hostiles converging on our position. How far to the processing node? Sophia inquired, readying her weapon. 200 meters, Jackson responded, through that chamber ahead. The chamber in question was immense, filled with what seemed to be thousands of suspended animation pods, each containing harvested specimens from countless worlds. My God, Sophia breathed, is this what they do? Collect samples? Not samples, I explained grimly, templates. They harvest genetic material to enhance their own biological technology. These are the lucky ones, the rest are processed for raw materials. Harvester guards materialized at the far end of the chamber, insectoid creatures with mechanically augmented limbs and weapons grown directly from their exoskeletons. Cover me! Jackson shouted, advancing with 2 of the human soldiers. A fierce firefight erupted, our modified weapons proving more effective against the harvester guards than the humans had experienced on the ground. But more kept coming. We need to move, I urged Sophia, who was staring, spellbound, at the pods. Sophia! She snapped back to attention. Right, let's go. We fought our way to the central processing node, a colossal, pulsating organic computer that controlled the entire mothership. This is it, Jackson confirmed. Deploy the agent.
Sophia removed the canister containing Mira's engineered biological virus from her pack. Here goes everything. Before she could activate it, a massive surge of energy knocked us all backward. A larger harvester emerged, distinct from the others, with an enlarged cranial structure and multiple limbs.
Queen, Jackson gasped. The ship has a queen.
The queen harvester spoke, its voice a discordant mixture of mechanical and organic sounds.
Primitive creatures, you think we did not anticipate this? Your biological agent is already neutralized.
Sophia looked down at the